In alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. We're continuing with the hadiths from Sahih Muslim, the first book, which is Kitab, and the first chapter in the first book, which is Kitab Iman, or the Book of Faith. And we've been speaking about a lot of conditions of faith. Just because we say we believe in Allah, that's easy. But if we truly believed in Him, our actions, our character, and our behavior would be a reflection of that. Today we're going to speak about lying. Lying to take other people's possessions. How if you truly believe in Allah, this is an action that you would never indulge in. We're going to also speak about the reward that a person gets for protecting their property. And we're going to speak about a couple of the signs of the last hour, how the Prophet told us that faith and trust will disappear. Also, true Islam will disappear. And how no one will enter paradise unless they affirm the prophethood of our Prophet. A lot of information, a lot of hadiths to cover today. Let's start with the first one here. Abu Umaymah tells us that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever appropriated the right of a Muslim by swearing a false oath, Allah will make the hellfire necessary for him and will declare paradise forbidden from him. And a person then asked the Prophet, they said, even if it was something small or insignificant that he took, the Prophet said, yes, even if it was a twig from a tree. So what is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam speaking about? He's saying people who lie to take something that's not there. For example, you come to me and say, those are my shoes you have on. And I don't have on your shoes. These are my shoes. These shoes do not belong to you. But you're going to go and tell a person of authority that I have your shoes. That you bought these shoes. And I took them from you. You're lying. And if the judge then, or the person of authority then rules in your favor and tells me I have to give my shoes to you, you may have won that argument and that lie, but guess what? You will never enter paradise. Again, remember we talked about in the beginning that once a person declares La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, once a person takes shahada, what does that mean? That means that three things are sacred. Number one, their life. You cannot kill that person. Number two, their honor, their reputation. You cannot take that. And number three, you cannot take their property. So just like taking a gun and shooting me is haram, just like slandering my character is the same as killing me, well, taking my property is the same as killing me too, and that is why the punishment is the hellfire forever, guys. And I know some of you probably know Muslims who do this. They'll lie and say that something that belongs to someone else is theirs when it really isn't. Well, guess what? These people will be in the hellfire forever. They may get away with it in this world, but it will be what prevents them from paradise in the hereafter. Let's look at the next hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever perjured or lied with a view to take the property of another Muslim, and he is a liar, he will meet Allah in a state in which Allah will be angry with him. Does everybody understand that? So you're going to sit here and make up a story and lie saying that something that I have belongs to you when it doesn't. There's the proof again. You will be in the hellfire forever. And then we go into a story here that there was a man who came to the people and said, what does Abdul Rahman tell you? And they reported this hadith. And Abdul Rahman told the truth. He said this command was revealed by Allah in regards to something that happened with me. He said there was a piece of land in Yemen which I and another person said belonged to us. I took the dispute to the Prophet, and the Prophet asked me, can you produce any proof that it is your land? And I told him, no, I don't have any proof. And then the Prophet asked the other person, and I said that person will swear and he will take an oath saying that it's his when he's a liar. And that's when the Prophet said, whoever lies just to take the possession of another Muslim, he will meet Allah as a liar and Allah will be angry with him. And that's when Allah sent down the verse of the Quran where Allah says, verily those who barter Allah's trust and their oaths who are those who sell Allah's trust and who sell their oaths at a small price. So again, guys, don't lie just to swindle somebody out of their possessions, their property. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever takes an oath on the property of a Muslim without legitimate right will meet Allah and Allah will be angry with him. Those who sell Allah's trust and their oaths at a small price. Okay, whatever you have, you're lying to get in this world. Is it worth you going to the hellfire forever for in the hereafter? So again, guys, be careful of this. Don't lie. You should not lie about anything. And even worse than just lying is lying to take from someone else. This is stealing. Also, a lot of people will ask, well, what about this? What if another Muslim breaks into your home to steal from you and you catch him? Okay? And you and he fight, and as a result, you're killed. What happens to a person who is fighting to protect his family or fighting to protect his property? Well, listen to what happened. A person came to the Prophet and said, "O Prophet of Allah, what do you think about a man who comes to me just to steal my property?" The Prophet said, "Don't give your property to him." And then the man said, "Well, what if he fights me?" The Prophet said, "Then you fight him back." And he said, "Well, what if I'm killed?" The Prophet said, "If you are killed while trying to protect your property, then you will be a martyr." You will be a martyr. And then the man said, "Well, what if I kill him? He's another Muslim. What if I kill him?" And the Prophet then said, "Then he will be in the hellfire." Again, because your intentions were not to kill him, you were protecting yourself. This is different than two Muslims getting into an argument and both of them becoming angry and they fight each other. Both of them will be in hell. This is not the same. You're at home in your house and someone breaks in and tries to harm you or your family. If you fight that person, there's no sin on you, and if you die in the process, you die the death of a martyr. The same if you're sitting at home and somebody comes and tries to steal your car and that person's a Muslim, you don't sit there and let him steal. You try to stop him. You fight him. And if he kills you in the process, guess what? You die a martyr. If you kill him in the process, there's no harm for you, no sin on you, because you were protecting yourself. Does everybody understand that? Murder is a sin unless it's for just cause. What does Allah say in the Quran? Those who take the life of another person without just cause. That means to just kill somebody just to kill them. This is not the same. You're protecting your family. You're protecting yourself. You're protecting your property. There's no sin on you. And you also see here, we just don't give our stuff away. I'm not going to just give I'm going to fight. I'm not going to just let you rape me. I'm going to fight you to the death. I'm not going to just let you rob me. I'm going to fight you back to the death. You see what I'm saying? Look at the next hadith. Abdullah ibn Amir said, are you not aware? This is when two companions were about to fight. They were about to fight against each other. And this person came and tried to get him to stop. He said, are you not? And the person said to him, look, what do you mean? Stop. Are you not aware that the prophet said whoever dies protecting his property is a martyr? He said, I'm fighting this man because he's trying to steal from me. This man is trying to take my property from me. Yeah, he claims to be a Muslim, but look what he's doing. He's trying to take from me. The prophet said, if I fight him and I end up killing him, there's no sin on me. And if I die in the process, guess what? I'm a martyr. So here we can see Islam is a beautiful way of life. It gives you the right to protect yourself, to protect your family, to protect your possessions. And it also teaches us that, again, as Muslims, we should not violate the rights of another Muslim by taking from them, stealing from them. And that brings us to another action. If you are in a position of authority, you are a ruler or in a position of authority, then you cannot treat the people that you are over badly. We have a hadith where one of the companions said, I'm going to tell you something that I heard from the prophet and which I would not tell if I knew that I would survive. He said, I heard the prophet say there is no one amongst the people who has been entrusted with the affairs of his subjects and dies, and he dies dishonest in his dealings with those people. If a person dies in that state of dishonesty with the people, then paradise will be forbidden for him. So you have to be a good ruler, not a tyrant. If you are a tyrant, you are the leader or the ruler of your country, or the ruler of your people, the imam of the mosque, and you have abused the people. You've taken from them, you've stolen from them, you've abused them, oppressed them. Then guess what? You will not enter paradise. Again, a ruler who has been entrusted with the affairs of the Muslims, but he makes no endeavor for the material or moral uplift, and he does not sincerely mean good for them, then he will not enter paradise. So again, if you are in a position of leadership, that's why as Muslims we have to be careful. So many Muslims want to be scholars. They want to be imams. They want to be teachers. These are all positions of authority. These are all positions of leadership. If you are not qualified to carry out the responsibilities and treat the people accordingly, then you will be a person who will never be allowed into paradise. So be careful what you wish for. Be careful. And also our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that one of the signs of the last hour will be that trust will disappear, and also faith will disappear from the heart of the people. And he's talking about the times today. Listen to what happened. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam once said, I have seen two things will happen. I have seen one and I'm waiting for the other. He said trustworthiness descended in the root of the heart of people. And then the Quran was revealed, and the people learned from the Quran, and they learned from my example. But a time will come when that trust will be removed. He said a man will go to sleep, and when he wakes up, trust will have left his heart. Then he will sleep again, and more of it will leave. Finally, none of it will be left. He said the people will enter into transactions with each other, and hardly anyone will be left who you can trust your property and things with. There will be no honesty amongst the people. In fact, it will be to the point where the people will say, there used to be a man who lived in that town who we could trust. Now we can't trust anyone. This is one of the signs of the last hour. And as you guys read that hadith, you realize it's happening now. He was talking about our times. It is so hard for us as Muslims to find other Muslims that we can trust. It seems like Muslims betray us just like the kafir do. You find rulers, imams amongst us who we can't trust. They mislead us. They lie to us. They deceive us. They take from us. They say that we are taking our money to build a mosque, and they're really taking our money to send overseas to support terrorism. He's talking about the time that we are living in now. So again, guys, Islam is not just a religion. It is a way of life, and our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us that just because we say we believe in Allah doesn't mean that we do. There's a lot of people out there who claim to believe in Allah, but they're dishonest, bad people. And he taught us that Islam, when it first emerged, it emerged during the Dark Ages as something strange. And it will revert back to being strange just as it was in those times. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said good tidings to the stranger. What did he mean by that? When he said Islam will become strange, what he meant is that people will not be practicing it in its authenticity. Like today, Islam will become distorted. People will take the Quran, they will take the hadiths and distort them, change the meaning of them, not even know the meaning, just twist them around to their benefit. And only a few people will truly understand the meaning of the Quran. Only a few people will understand the true meaning of the hadith and act upon it. And they will be looked upon as being strange by the other Muslims around them. The other Muslims will look at them as being fanatics. Oh, he's a fanatic because he doesn't have a girlfriend. She's a fanatic because she wears a hijab. He's an extremist, a terrorist because he has a beard. Islam will be looked at as strange for the true practicer of it. And that's why the Prophet said good tidings to that person, because it's hard to remain firm upon the truth when you are surrounded by people who claim to be of your faith, who claim to be of your belief system, and they're ridiculing you just as the kafir are. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Islam began as something strange, and it will revert back to being strange, and it will recede between the two mosques like a snake crawls back into its hole. What did he mean by that? He meant that the true believer, the true belief will end up being found only in Medina and Mecca, just as it began. And this is one of the signs of the last hour. We talked about how when the Mahdi comes, the Mahdi will announce who he is from Mecca. He will be in Mecca making Hajj, and he will announce to the world that he is the Mahdi. And all the true believers that's living on earth at that time will migrate to him. They will go to Mecca to support him. They will also go to Medina to join up with him. And that's what the prophet meant when he said Islam will be like us, will revert back to being strange, and it will recede between the two mosques like a serpent into its hole. It'll go back to Mecca and Medina, just like it began. Something for us to think about as we live each day of our lives as Muslims. And also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, since you don't know who a true believer is, we're not saying that we're supposed to go around trying to judge whether or not I'm a believer. Only Allah can see inside your heart. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Only Allah knows whose faith is real and whose faith isn't. The only thing I can do is judge what you are from your behavior. If I recognize you as being a good Muslim, then I'll surround myself with you. But through your behavior and your character, I recognize you as being bad, then I'll distance myself. So we can't go around calling people believers. Just like it's haram to call another Muslim a kafir, it's haram to call another Muslim a believer too. Does everybody understand that? Because only Allah knows who the true believers are. Instead, what I can say is we're both Muslims. Everybody in this website, we're all Muslims, but I don't know if you are a believer or not. Only Allah knows. So you're not going to ever hear me refer to any of you as being a true believer. But you will hear me say that we're all Muslim. Listen to what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. The last hour will not come as long as Allah is the supplicated word. Now we talked about how one of the signs of the last hour is that Jesus will come. He will establish Islam as the religion of the entire world, and then he'll die. And when he dies, all the believers will die after him because Allah will send a virus. And there will be nothing left on earth except unbelievers, even though everyone living on earth after that will claim that Islam is their religion. They will claim to be Muslim. But there really won't be. They'll all be liars and hypocrites. They will not ever mention Allah's name. Sort of like what the Christians do and the Jews. They claim to be Christians and Jews, but they don't practice their religion. If they did practice, they'd be Muslim. Well, that's how it is with us too. Look at that next hadith. Some of the companions said that we were with the Prophet, and he said, count for me the amount of people who claim to belong to Islam. And we said, O Prophet of Allah, do you entertain any fear about us? There's only 600 and 700 of us. The Prophet said, don't you know that you will be put to test? And sure enough, the people were put to test. And back then, it was only 600 Muslims, true Muslims. We got thousands and thousands, millions of Muslims in the world today. But how many of those millions are true believers? Look at that next hadith there. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, well, first of all, let me give you the story behind it. The prophet was passing out some of the war, the spoils of war, to some of his companions. This was after the conquest of Mecca. And he gave the new converts a little bit more than what he gave the ones who have been Muslim longer. And when the prophet gave one of the people, their spoil of their share of the spoils, one of the companions said, "Give him such and such because he's a believer." The prophet looked at the person and said, "Or he's just a Muslim." The person said, "Oh, come on, prophet, he's a believer." And the prophet again said, "Perhaps he's just a Muslim." And it ended up being that that man that they were referring to, he ended up being amongst the hypocrites who ended up being killed in the battle after that. And so the point here was the prophet was saying, you don't know who the true believers are. A lot of people embrace Islam, but what are they embracing Islam for? Are they doing it because they really believe in Allah, or are they doing it for a husband, doing it for a wife, doing it to be with the in crowd? It's fashionable. Doing it so you can win the get part of the spoils of war. This person became Muslim because everybody else is doing it. He wanted the spoils of war. He was just a Muslim, not a believer. The faith had not yet entered into his heart. And this is why the prophet gave the new converts more than of a share than he did the other ones, because he knew that their faith was not strong enough yet. So again, guys, just like we don't go around referring to one another as being kafir, we should never refer to one another as being a believer either. We should say that we're all Muslims, because only Allah knows. Also, there's a lot of Muslims on Facebook who talk about whether or not Christians will be in paradise. There will be no Christians in paradise. Jews, there will be no Jews in paradise. And the answer, the reason why is so simple. Because why would Allah give paradise to a kafir? Paradise will only be filled with Muslims. And what does the word Muslim mean? One who submits to Allah. There's no way you can call yourself a believer and you do not recognize the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the last messenger. You call yourself a Christian and you think you're going to heaven. You don't even accept our prophet. You don't even worship Allah alone. You don't hear and you don't obey. You will not be in paradise. And again, the Christians need to understand that we are closer to Jesus and closer to Abraham and Moses than they are. Look at what the prophet said. He said, we have more claim to doubt than Abraham when he said, "Oh Allah, show me how you bring the dead back to life." It wasn't because he didn't believe that Allah could do it. He just wanted to see Allah do it so it would strengthen his faith. Okay, and Allah did show Abraham how he does it. Also, look at the test that Yusuf went through. He was in prison, but he remained patient. The Prophet Muhammad said, there is no way that I would have been able to endure what Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam endured by staying in prison like that. Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there has never been a prophet sent who was not given a sign amongst the signs. He said, human beings believe, and verily I have been conferred upon revelation that Allah has revealed to me. In other words, every prophet had a miracle. Had a miracle. Moses had his staff. Abraham was allowed to see how Allah brings the dead back to life. Okay? Our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his miracle is the Quran. The Quran is his miracle. So every prophet was special, and every prophet had something that was unique to them. Prophet Solomon, he was allowed to command the jinn. He had power over the jinn. David, he had the Psalms, and he could speak to the animals. Okay? Well, our prophet Muhammad, his miracle is and was the Quran. Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "By he in whose hand is my soul, whoever amongst the Christians or Jews hears about me and does not affirm belief in what I have been sent with and dies in that state, he will be one of the denizens of the hellfire." So there's your evidence. There is your proof that there will be no Christians, that there will be no Jews in paradise. If they truly believe in Allah, they would convert to Islam. That hadith is the evidence. So we have to stop going around telling people that there will be Christians and Jews in paradise, because there will not be. Once they hear about the Prophet Muhammad, they have to affirm and accept that he is the last prophet sent and follow his way. If they don't convert, then they will be one of the denizens of the hellfire. Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us there will be three groups of people who will receive a double reward from Allah. One is a person who was a Christian or a Jew, and they believed in their prophet, and then they lived to see or to learn of me, and they affirm belief in me, and they follow me. They will get a double reward. So here you can see those strict, sincere Christians and strict, sincere Jews who convert to Islam and accept our prophet over Jesus and Moses and the others, they will receive a double reward. That's something to think about when you call yourself putting down converts. Believe it or not, there are some Muslims out there who are so ignorant that they want to discredit and put you down because you are a convert. Astaghfirullah. Shame on them. When you got a double reward for converting. So thus, guys, these are all hadiths which once again affirm that saying we believe in Allah is not enough. It has to show through our action, through our behavior with each other. We cannot go around hurting other Muslims with our tongue and our hands. We cannot go around taking their property and lying on them. We can't do that. And if a person does do that to us, then we have a right to fight them back. And if we die in the process, we die a martyr. If we kill them in the process, there is no sin on us. And also we have to understand, guys, that paradise will only be filled with believers. And in order to be a believer, you have to believe La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, not Jesus, Moses, or anyone else. And also you learn that anyone who hears about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and who does not adapt his way of life will be a denizen of the hellfire. So again, be careful how we live our lives as Muslims. Be careful how we treat others. Be careful and understand that there are some sins that we do that will land us a seat in hell forever. Trustfulness, truthfulness. These are very important qualities to have as a Muslim. If you're in a leadership position, the people have to trust you, believe in you. You can't go around oppressing the people, hindering them, breaking them down, because you'll end up in hell for that forever. On that note, we'll stop right here for today. If you guys have any questions or comments, inshallah, you can type them on the screen. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik.